our 17th episode. It feels like it has been ages since we've talked to you all. Hey, life is busy. It's that holiday season. I got my stretchy pants on. Although, let's be honest, I've been wearing my stretchy pants since COVID hit in 2020. Fake news. Anyways, we are here to talk about some exciting topic regarding cults, and really hoping that we can get David into joining one. Curious which one he's going to pick, but it's kind of like the matchmaker. And before we get that going, we are going to do a Florida man. So let's get going. All right. Today's Florida man topic. Man arrested after woman rushed to the hospital with hatchet protruding from her head.
The hatchet protrude like...
Oh, he didn't hit.
Oh, man. So many questions.
The woman that he rushed to the hospital.
Oh.
Well,
so
I don't know if... Yeah.
Was he chopping wood and missed?
It's a pretty far miss. Can I read this? So it says that a man was arrested for attempted murder after a woman was taken to the hospital with a hatchet protruding from her head. Deputies responded to a call in St. Petersburg in reference to an attempted murder at around 10:36 a.m. This was like a morning murder. Like, do you just wake up and you're like,
holy
you know
shit.
what I'm going to do today? Hatchet some things.
Well, that's like Texas. I mean, the Amityville Horror Story. He hacked them all up in the middle of the night, early morning, and same with Lizzie Borden did the same thing. So that's kind of a consistent flow.
Didn't do it.
Well, they shouldn't have named the murder after her then.
That's a topic for another podcast.
Yes, it could be. Well, okay. I feel like those happen like in the early morning at like 5 a.m., like bewitching hour still. I think anything before I wake up is bewitching hour. But this is like 10:30. Like, you've already been to the Cracker Barrel.
Oh, it's
breakfast and morning coffee. Like, you're set for the day.
You already had your morning
breakfast, morning poop, and now you're out chopping your wood for the day.
And your lady comes out and gives you shit, and you're like, you know what I'm going to chop instead of wood? Your head.
Yeah, like, fuck your face. Here it comes.
So,
wow.
Here's my other part of
so she died?
I really like. Not sure. So, deputies found 56-year-old woman with a hatchet protruding from her head. She was taken to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. No shit. And they later identified the suspect, 40-year-old Michael Doherty. So, Michael Doherty apparently has a thing for cougars. And this woman that he was with was 16 years older.
Did we just lose her?
Oh, no.
So she was 56. So you said, I caught every other word.
Yeah, it was
not even that. It was like every other sentence. She's 56 and he was 16 years younger than her?
Yes.
Yeah, in the story, he's 40 years old. She's 56. And she ran her mouth a little too much, I guess.
I don't even have to come back for that.
Yeah, I don't either. I was trying to think of one, but I couldn't get it.
that was pretty gold there, Dave.
Listen here, you old bag. It's the last time I hear from you. Hatchet to the head.
She probably was like, because it was cold a couple weeks ago in Florida, right, Dave?
Hatchet dropped.
Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, hatchet drop. He did the old hatchet drop on it.
On your head. I'm done with this shit.
See, okay, so we've all been mad at our significant others, right?
No, not me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so
that's because your significant other listens to the podcast.
Like, what? Huh?
When Chris said, no, not me, I said that's because his significant other listens to the podcast.
I
And
mean,
mine already
we
thinks
love
I'm a
her.
serial
We love them
killer.
all. I've never like gone.
Mine too.
If I had a hatchet, if I had a freaking hatchet, you'd have it inside of your head.
So
Yeah, I don't get the
this
physical harm thing. Like I get, you get upset, you get in arguments, you have disagreements, but the laying the hands on either side, just to me it doesn't solve anything. If you're in a relationship with somebody, it just doesn't solve anything.
Mhm.
It doesn't make you feel better. It's not like it's some random guy in the street that disrespects you in some stupid way or whatever that you got to defend yourself. Like it's just in that kind of relationship, it's unnecessary. It just makes things worse. It puts a marker in the relationship that it's pretty much doomed to fail, unfortunately. And not to say that, there hasn't been relationships out there that haven't had those things happen and then they flourish from there on out and never happens again. And that's great. But I'm sure it's always something that hangs in the background or is held over that person's head.
Mhm.
Like, hey, remember that time you tried to hit me with that hatchet? You know,
Oh, for sure.
it's
Like
just,
every argument, it comes up, and like you
yeah,
said, I don't believe that's love. If you've got to put your hands on your significant other, you don't love them. That's
no.
not
Mhm.
a love. You know.
Well,
And I feel
I
for
have
the,
questions. I have questions. What was his end game? Maybe she wasn't talking back. Maybe something that he wanted to get the insurance money because he didn't kill her, right?
Well, she didn't die, but he hauled butt and was arrested in Alachua.
Mm.
But
So
Amanda,
he's
didn't you
like,
say he dropped her off at the hospital?
well, see, it read
No,
like that, but then it in the story it reads that the officer showed up at the home and found her.
so
Okay.
somebody called and then
All
yeah.
right. So then,
Sorry,
yeah.
I
So
didn't
then
mean to
she
short.
was definitely talking back or something. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
or he was chopping wood and was holding the axe backwards and she walked up behind him and
And
some Looney
scared him.
Tune shit happened.
I mean, it could have
Okay,
went down.
if
Hey,
I'm
hold this piece of wood for me real quick. I
On
keep
your head.
missing. And got her.
yeah, if I'm
Paul Bunyan's
the defense
version of the
attorney,
old apple and the bow and arrow trick.
That was William Tell, not Paul Bunyan.
Yeah. Well, Paul Bunyan's version of it, because Paul Bunyan was a
Okay. Yeah.
axe guy.
Boy, they're on you today.
William Tell. Yeah, I don't know. Shit. It's all good though. She's the fact checker.
She is.
Checking
She
the
is about the
facts.
facts. She is about the facts.
yeah, so hatchets are happening in Florida. But I have a better story that I feel really is important to this conversation. And I
Fair
didn't tell you
enough.
all about this story beforehand because I really need your honest reaction. Okay. So in Brazil, there is a woman who married a rag doll last December in front of 250 of their closest friends. And recently has admitted that their relationship.
Hang on. You said their closest friends. The ragdoll has close friends.
Yes. This is where the story gets better. I saw this.
Gets better. We're not even done
Continue.
It's done.
Well, apparently their relationship is hanging on by a thread because he cheated on her by texting another woman.
What?
Wait a minute.
So now the ragdoll and the mother of three are sleeping in separate beds.
They have kids?
It's probably not his kid.
So it's
She
a mixed
probably got
family.
close to the relationship. But hell,
I
he's
think it's
Texas.
a-
Who knows?
Step kids.
Well, nope. I think there are children because I'm going to send you a picture. And folks listening at home, I will post this on Instagram. Because there is a picture of a nurse delivering a ragdoll child.
Out of the woman?
Wait a damn minute.
Shut the front door.
No.
Hey, send that,
Holy fuck.
send that to Chris so he can put that.
Oh my God.
I want to see a bigger picture of this.
I knew that you three would be like, what in the world?
Well, I saw this, but I didn't notice that the kid was a ragdoll as well.
Wow.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Where shall we
Yeah.
start?
I don't think we have
So
enough
they
time to unpack all of that.
I
so
think
there's
this
children
deserves its
in
own podcast itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a 37-year-old woman in Brazil hit headlines earlier this year after revealing she had met the love of her life, a ragdoll named Marcelo.
Walking through the
She has
city.
since admitted that their relationship is hanging on by a thread. I am not this clever to make that up. That is literally what it says, and I think that's
Yes,
the
you
best
are.
one.
Yes, you are.
After claiming that he cheated on her. Oh, there's even more pictures. Oh, I'm going to share the screen because this is epic. How do I do this? All right.
I was going to say, did
Oh
you
my
find
gosh.
the link I found? So the backstory is her mother created said ragdoll.
Wait a minute. Then that would be her
No.
mother. What the fuck is this?
Okay. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
see the
Scroll up.
ragdoll lady, right?
Scroll up, Amanda. Oh, you don't have that
So
one. Oh,
No.
I have the original post where they
Okay.
welcome a baby. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So she claims he went to a motel with another woman, and she even found text on his phone.
He's got a phone?
I hope they pay by the minute.
After a whirlwind romance, she claimed to have fallen pregnant, and she didn't want to have the baby out of wedlock. So the duo decided to get hitched in a ceremony attended by 250 people.
This
Soon
bitch needs
she
to look
gave-
into her text messages because I bet she's cheating.
Soon she gave birth in only 35 minutes while at home with a doctor and a nurse on site, and live streamed the whole ordeal to an audience of 200 people.
There you have it. What? Come on. He's naked? They
Where's
started
his
their
clothes?
honeymoon too early. Look at this.
No, that's a suit. Maybe?
No. This picture that's on there now.
This is the best part. Okay. So the lady revealed she started to have doubts about their relationship because she realized she is the only breadwinner and they were struggling to pay the bills.
You don't say. He doesn't have a
Not
job.
a big mystery there.
But there are mysteries. She's pregnant.
Well, yes, there's mysteries there, yes. But I have to say,
Hold on. Hold on. One of these quotes from that article, Amanda, did you read it? He is the man I always wanted in my life. Married life with him is wonderful. He doesn't fight with me. He doesn't argue. He just understands me.
Come on.
He doesn't talk back, that's for sure.
That's for damn
He's got
sure.
this-
If he ever did, I mean, she'd have something to worry about.
he's got the dopest hair and mustache I've ever
Who
seen.
drew his face? Like,
Her mom.
Do you think
And she's not a bad woman. I don't understand why
he's wearing a chain. Look at the necklace.
Oh, he is. He's got some bling on there.
He's a good Christian, it looks like.
Holy
What the
shit.
fuck? Come on.
She got a tinfoil hat on? Is that blood? What is that?
No, I think that's the stuffed
I think
creature's
that's the blanket.
hand.
Yeah.
Come out with a full head of hair and eyes already open. Look at that. Got a unibrow too.
Here's my one question, friends. How would
Is she breastfeeding?
I mean, pictures sure it didn't happen. Oh, I thought
I
that
love
was
everybody's in
Ragdoll standing
scrubs.
behind him.
I love everybody's in scrubs except for the guy in the New York Yankees hoodie.
Him and the dad, or him and the other feller.
The dad's in scrubs and a tie.
Oh, he is.
And he's got a shocked expression. Like, I can't believe
He's the doctor. I bet you.
Oh my God.
These quotes in this article just keep getting better and better.
In a bid to share their stringy romance, she exposed the betrayal on TikTok, raking up 1.6 million
No.
views and
This
over
is on TikTok
120,000
too?
likes. Yes,
Did she did a video?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's
She
Oh, we
very
live
gotta watch
streamed her
it.
pregnancy.
and could
She live
barely
streamed it.
sleep.
We gotta watch
What's
it.
your TikTok name?
It doesn't say, but I bet we could find it.
We gotta see it. We gotta see
This is. She said that she found out through a friend that they had saw Marcelo enter a motel with another woman while she was
Come on.
hospitalized for 3 nights
She's
and
got
3
friends
days
in on this shit.
with Marcelinho, their son, who had a virus.
Marcelo Ragdoll on TikTok. Son of a bitch.
The argument was ugly and scared their son, who was crying, so she shouted to him, "What have you done?" But he did not respond.
Hold on. My favorite was when she's talking about the pregnancy. She's like, it's true. Marcelo got me pregnant. He didn't take care of himself and he didn't use a condom.
Oh, this is just entertaining. So entertaining. Here's my question though. Say you were invited to this wedding. You got an email or an invitation in the mail and it's like, come see whatever her name, Mary Vanello or whatever, and Marcello get married. And you're like, wait, who's Marcelo? And then you get there and you realize it's a rag doll.
I would laugh, honestly. Like, I would think I was in a joke. They would kick me out of the freaking wedding. I was like, no, this is BS. Come on.
Like, if I wasn't married already,
You'd
this
marry a
would be
ragdoll?
no, but this would be the most epic, amazing prank to play on our family. Like, if I wasn't married, I would so like put all of my efforts into sending invitations that I'm marrying a ragdoll.
Hmm.
So that means she's having sex with this ragdoll then, if they had a baby together.
But you saw him naked. There was no appendage.
No, that's just his casual wear.
Oh my!
There's other pictures where he's got the gray sweatpants on and he's wearing a chain. Oh, maybe no. I don't even know anymore. I have no words. I would.
Do you like?
You did. Hold on. If you did this to me, I would have you committed. I love you, but I would have you committed.
He's eating.
Yeah.
See, no appendage.
No phallus.
And Angela, you probably should have me committed regardless. But
So
absolutely, you should
her
have me
family's
committed.
playing along with this shit. Nobody in these pictures are going, what the fuck?
Right? Can you imagine being a doctor called in to deliver a ragdoll baby?
Wow.
I'm really trying to find her page and I can't.
It's also funny that the kid has a unibrow.
Like full on, strong unibrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I felt like you all would enjoy that. I also am now worried that we are going to spend the next hour looking up information about this crazy lady.
I know, right?
A hole. Yep.
But honestly, I have lots of questions and I kind of need to meet Marcelo.
Marcello. Get it right.
It's actually Marcelo. I only know that because that's my boss's name.
Marcello is the child.
No, Marcelino is the child, which I think is like little Marcelo.
Oh, yes.
Well, the lady was sad she was single and her mom made this rag doll. Wouldn't that be her brother then?
Yeah.
That would make it incest, yes?
But y'all, let's think about this. This could have been my life if Adam didn't come in the picture.
I have a feeling it's going to be my life. Put some longer hair on Marcello, and I might be after it.
I found a
Selena.
picture where she's dancing. I guess their first dance at the wedding, and there are all these people who were standing around with these huge smiles, like they all knew this was the inevitable thing, and they're taking pictures and shit.
My favorite is like the aunt or grandma to the side. And she's just like, what is going on? In the pink, like far left in like the corner.
Oh. What are they wearing to these weddings?
I know, look at that.
Well, look at old girl over there with her legs showing off. You. Get some thick
She's
thighs in
dancing
there.
with him on like a dolly.
Well, you don't.
Yeah, you see that?
Dance, do you?
He's got the Forrest Gump stilts on.
I mean, she can't lift him up.
That is fan-freaking-tastic.
You're welcome. I saw
She
that and
said
I said,
all the women envy him.
If anybody has any more information on that story and would like to fill us in on it, I would love to hear it.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into some call to action. This episode this week, I don't think we said at the beginning, but we'll go ahead and say it now. I'm sure you read it on the episode title anyway, if you found us. It is going to be on cults. We're going to do like an overview on some of the more memorable cults, and there's some that we won't mention and some that we may. I don't think it's any particular order. I think I have my favorites in the aspect of the most interesting, and I'll call those as they come through, but I don't think they're in any particular order as like the worst or best. I think we'll just run through a few of the more memorable ones. I think later on we're going to do, as we've been doing, is to dive deeper on maybe an individual cult as we go through our podcast journey. But at the moment, we just want to kind of get an overview and see what people are listening to, what people enjoy, and go from there. And just a tidbit for our faithful listeners, our top episodes right now, we were talking about this before the show, is our simulation theory and Hollow Earth. And Hollow Earth is our number one episode downloads right now. And then Simulation Series, our second. We'd like to get those up because it's still not the numbers we'd like to see, but very happy of the numbers we do have. Love our listeners and continue listening. Tell your friends and family, of course. We know say that every show at the end, but I'm going to just say it at the beginning this time is to tell your friends and family and whoever you think might give us a listen, give a laugh, and hopefully they'll pass it on as well. Of course, you can reach us via email if you have any suggestions, topic requests, or anything like that at twrdpodcast@gmail.com or the Waters Run Deep podcast @gmail.com. And also our Instagram at twrd_podcast. That I love it. Is that we're looking at her her, I guess, what is that? Were they going to honeymoon? Is that their honeymoon picture?
It's just a picture. They went to a hoedown together.
I'm gonna need you to send that to me, please.
A little hoedown action.
I can't like not stop looking this stuff up. I actually
are getting ideas.
Well, I mean, he doesn't argue with her. He doesn't argue with her. I mean, maybe I can find. Maybe if I write her mom, she'll make me a female. One that won't argue, hit me, cheat on me. Hey, listen.
I won't know about cheating, David, because their relationship's hanging on a thread.
Marcelo was texting other bitches, and their relationship's on a thread right now.
It's stringy, to say the least.
Everybody's checking old Marcelo out.
I was trying to think of another like thread pun about him having the right stuff. He's
definitely got the right
with the goodness.
He's definitely got the right thing.
Man, maybe I should have saved this for like our offline conversation.
No, He's got no feet. That's why she was dancing with him on the wagon thing. The poor guy's got amputee. He's amputee.
Lieutenant Dan.
I wonder what war he was in. The poor fellow.
They didn't even say that he was a veteran. All right,
Wow.
Chris, please save us because we could keep going on this.
Here we go. So the first one we're going to dive into is Heaven's Gate. So Heaven's Gate was an American new religious movement, often described as a cult, which it definitely is because it made this episode. It was founded in 1974 and led by Bonnie Nettles. Bonnie Nettles died in 1985 and was born in 1927. And Marshall Applewhite. And Applewhite's the guy that we always see, the bald-headed white guy with the big bulging eyes that you see every time they talk about Heaven's Gate. He was born in 1931 and died in 1997, and we'll get to his death here shortly. He was known within the movement as T and Doe, so respectively. So she was T and he was Doe. That was their names in the cult. So Nettles and Applewhite first met in 1972 on a journey of spiritual discovery, identifying themselves as two witnesses of revelation, attracting a following of several hundred people in the mid-70s. In 1976, the group stopped recruiting and instituted a monastic lifestyle. Scholars have described the theology of Heaven's Gate as a mixture of Christian, millennialism, New Age, and UFOlogy. In a different time, a different place, they may have gotten me. Who knows? It such has been characterized as a UFO religion. So this is kind of in line with the UFO religion. The central belief of the group was that followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, and they would ascend to heaven, referred to as the next level, or the evolutionary level above human. The death of Nettles from cancer in 1985 challenged the group's views on ascension, where they originally believed that they would ascend to heaven while alive aboard a UFO. They later came to believe that the body was merely a container or vehicle for the soul, and their consciousness would be transformed to a new next level bodies upon death. This is where they take a hard left. There's also a few of the hardcore cult members, in this case in Heaven's Gate, also what do they call that when they remove their testicles? They castrated themselves. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. Some of the top leaders castrated themselves. They believed that it was some sort of removing the pleasures of a companion. So the sexual desires, that was something that wasn't allowed in this cult. So March 26, 1997, deputies of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department discovered the bodies of 39 active members of the group, including Doe, Mr. Applewhite, in a house in the San Diego suburb of Rancho Santa Fe. They had participated in a mass suicide and coordinated series of ritual suicides coinciding with the closest approach of the comet Hale-Bopp. So they believe that Hale-Bopp approaching, it was a extraterrestrial craft. So their plan was, as it approached Earth, that they would kill themselves, and when they ascended, that they would jump aboard Hale-Bopp and keep on keeping on. Not sure what ended up happening, but that's how they nixed themselves. And they're also famous for the Nike shoes. In they all wore the same branded Nike shoes, and they're actually, if you wanted to buy them right now, they're like super expensive because they don't make them anymore. I can't remember the shoe name, but they're just plain white Nike classic Nike shoes, but they're apparently really expensive to buy right now. So yeah, that's Heaven's Gate. That's probably one of my more favorites. It's kind of your traditional. I think that's what most people think of when they think of cults, is Heaven's Gate. That classic, somewhat ludicrous mindset and thought process. So that is next. And they still apparently are still existing, because I stumbled across during my research. They still have a web page. So somebody's still paying to have their web page up.
So they
have books.
what were their names? T and Doe.
Uh-huh.
So they weren't romantically linked, right?
I think Applewhite wanted to be, but it wasn't like, I don't think there was anything going on there actively because I think it was part of the cult to not be sexually active.
That's really uncommon for cults, though, because aren't a lot of cults like there's a lot of like sexual connection?
Yes. And this one was not. And we'll get into a few more that have some of the more out there mindsets on sex and things of that nature.
Hmm. And so you said that they because they all killed themselves. I remember that.
Yeah.
But we think there might still be some.
Yeah, it looks like they still have a web page, so they're still rolling. I don't know who's rolling them, but somebody's still keeping up paying for that web page.
Chris, do you ever worry about people wondering what you're Googling? Like, do you ever just get random like offers to join certain cults?
Do I ever get those?
Yeah, based on the things that we Google.
Oh, no, I haven't. That'd be interesting if I did. I mean, I get weird emails here and there, but I don't ever get offered to be in a cult.
Oh. Ooh, this is a fun place.
If you did get the offer,
website.
what would you say?
It depends on what they're offering. I mean, hey, offering wealth and prosperity and can actually provide it.
Well, I mean, they're all going to offer that. They're going to tell you, I can give you whatever you want.
True. And if they, they come in the house and they get a briefcase full of money and they leave it as they exit the door, hey, it's debatable.
I'll believe anything for some money.
Yeah. No doubt.
So it sounds like although this website is still good, like it's still active, I feel like no one's actually keeping up with it because it says that they're bringing it to a closure. So did they pay like an eternal? Ooh, we can write them.
Yeah, I saw that you can write them, but it also seemed like, I mean, when did the internet come out?
I was gonna say this is a very like early on internet.
Yeah,
homemade.
It is. It is.
Like,
it is, and
someone that learned HTML for just this reason.
I found a website about who is running Heaven Gate's website.
Oh.
So it's the Tila Foundation, which is the foundation that's seemingly linked to the trustees of the Heavens Group Gate. Oh. I guess they feed into a trustee and then
to keep it rolling after their.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Wonder how those people's family think about that. That's kind of shitty. A constant reminder.
They say, the group left us to take care of the website, books, and tapes they wanted to be shared for all, but very few people asked for the books or tapes, so very little has been given out.
Oh.
Christmas presents for all.
Yeah, right? Very interesting. Very interesting.
Our website's a little bit better than this. A little bit.
All right. So our next is, I'm going to say what everybody knows the cult as, is Shinrikyo. And apparently they're now called Aleph, or Aleph. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. But Shinrikyo, for the sake of the episode, Shinrikyo is the what we're going to call them. So it's a Japanese doomsday cult founded by Shoko Asahara in 1987, the day of my birth, or year of my birth, rather. It carried out the deadly Tokyo subway sarin attack in 1995 and was found to have been responsible for the Matsumoto sarin attack the previous year. So this cult started pretty much as it's kind of a Scientology-ish, loosely Scientology when I say that. It's not directly Scientology. The only reason I even compare it to Scientology, so please don't come after me, Scientologists, is it was kind of a yoga self-help. I think the leader, Shoko Asahara, was a big-time yoga person in Japan. Kind of that self-help type thing. So the group says that those who carried out attacks did so secretly without being known to their other executives and ordinary believers. Asahara insisted on his innocence in a radio broadcast relayed from Russia and directed toward Japan. On the 6th of July 2018, after exhausting all appeals, Asahara and 6 followers were executed as a punishment for the 1995 attacks and other crimes. And the remaining 6 on death row were executed on July 26th, on New Year's Day 2019. So at least 9 people were injured, one seriously, when a car was deliberately driven into crowds celebrating the new year on Takashita Street in Tokyo. Local police reported the arrest of Kazuhira Kasakabe, the suspected driver who allegedly admitted to intentionally ramming his vehicle into crowds to protest his opposition to the death penalty, specifically in retaliation for the execution of aforementioned cult members. So Shirikyo was split into Aleph, and Hikari Noa in 2007 had already been formally designated a terrorist organization by several countries, including Russia, Canada, Kazakhstan, as well as European Union. It was previously designated by the United States as a terrorist organization until 2022. So as of 2022, they are no longer considered a terrorist group, according to the United States, when the State Department determined that the group largely defunct as a terrorist organization. So this group, so here's the doctrine. I'll just read some of their doctrine here. So Shinrikyo is this syncretic belief system that draws upon Asahara's idiosyncratic interpretations of elements of early Indian Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism, as well as Hinduism, taking Shiva as the main image of worship. It also incorporates Christian millennialist ideas, the theory and practice of yoga, and the writings of Nostradamus. Its founder, Chizuo Matsumoto, claimed that he sought to restore original Buddhism, but employed Christian millennialist rhetoric in 1992. Matsumoto, who had changed his name to Soko Ashihara, published a foundational book declaring himself to be Christ, Japan's only fully enlightened master, as well as identifying himself as the Lamb of God. So as you can see, they're batshit crazy. Their leader, he's kind of mixing all kinds of religions there and just picking and choosing. But very interesting. They I guess somehow figured out how to make the sarin gas, and they packaged it up and did 2 attacks. One, the more main known one, is the one I talked about a minute ago, was the subway attack in Japan, I believe. Yeah.
But okay, what was the
Tokyo.
reason for the attack? Like, why did they do that?
It looks like it had something to do with planned police raids to divert the police attention from them getting raided themselves.
Oh, it's like a little switcheroo.
So he also apparently wanted to start a 3rd World War as well, it looks like. But yeah, it looks like it was mainly to divert the police attentions, but it was also an attempt to spark the apocalypse by starting World War III.
Like,
Very fascinating.
I feel like if I was a part of a group, like, okay, let's be honest, I feel like I probably am a part of a cult, being a Catholic. I think all religions have cult aspects. But if I was a part of a group that was like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to like kill a ton of people and start World War III, I think I'd be like, ooh, that doesn't really fly with me.
Yeah, but I think that people in these cults, like, they're so in that it's kind of hard to backstep at that point. Like, you either kind of got to ride it out, or you get that peer pressure kind of thing going on, you know, where you're stuck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of a reason for somebody to join a cult. Like, there's mentally, you want to be a part of a group that you want to fit in somewhere. Like, you've probably lived your life as a loner or something like that, and you haven't fit in, and what have you, and the cult is a drawing, like, you know, These people will accept you for whatever you are as long as you're willing to follow whatever they tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So our next one on the docket here is the good old Branch Davidians.
Ah, yes.
So the Branch Davidians, or the General Association of Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists, were an apocalyptic new religious movement founded in 1955 by Benjamin Roden. They regarded themselves as a continuation of the General Association of Davidian Seventh-day Adventists established by Victor Houteff in 1935. I'm not going to jump into, because we're not doing a deep dive on the Branch Davidians, so I'm not going to jump into the Houteff story.
So they were a part of the Seventh-day Adventist. Like they were, and they branched out?
Yeah, it's like a spinoff. Yeah, like a spinoff.
Okay.
So in 1957, Florence sold the original Mount Carmel Center and purchased 941 acres near Elk, Texas, 13 miles northwest of Waco. So you see where that's going. Naming the property New Mount Carmel Center after the failure of Florence's prophecy of apocalyptic events on or near April 22nd, 1955. She dissolved the Davidian Association in 1962 and sold all but 77.86 acres of the New Mount Carmel property. Roden took possession of the New Mount Carmel in 1962 and began his efforts to purchase the remaining 77.86 acres. On February 27th, 73, New Mount Carmel was sold to Benjamin Roden, Louise Roden, and their son George Roden, trustees of the General Association of Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists. From this point on, the property was simply known as Mount Carmel. Upon the death of Roden in 1978, his wife Louise became the next Davidian prophet at the compound. So, you know where that's going. We'll get into, here's the rise of David Koresh. That's what everybody knows about Waco. I see where that's going. That was just a little background on the Branch Davidians. So, Howell's arrival at Mount Carmel in 1981 was well received by nearly everyone at the Davidian commune. He had engaged in an affair with Louise Roden. So, you know who Louise Roden is. She's the lead cheese. While he was in his late 20s and she was in her late 60s. So, she was massively robbing the cradle and he was getting up in it. Mm-hmm. Wow. Howell wanted to father a child with her. Good luck. Who, according to his understanding, would be the chosen one. So it'll be Neo. They're going to have Neo. He's the chosen one.
I don't think
when
that's
she
how
died,
that works, but okay.
Oh, I thought this was the beginning of the Matrix movie. Because we don't know where Neo came from. Maybe that's where Neo from the Matrix came from. Anyway, so when she died, nope, apparently not. So when she died, George Roden inherited the position of prophet and leader of the sect. A power struggle ensued between Roden and Howell, who soon gained the loyalty of the majority of the Davidians. In 1984, Howell and his fathers left Mount Carmel. Roden accused Howell of starting a fire that consumed $500,000 administrating building and press, which Roden subsequently renamed Rodenville. Another splinter group led by Charlie Pace also left and settled in Alabama. As an attempt to regain support, Roden challenged Howell to raise the dead, going so far as to exhume the corpse of 2 decades deceased Davidian in order to demonstrate his spiritual supremacy. Roden denied this, saying that he only had been moving the community cemetery. The legal act gave Howell an opportunity to attempt to file charges against Roden, but he was told he needed evidence in order to substantiate the charges. On November 3rd, 1987, Howell and 7 of his followers raided Mount Carmel, equipped with 5 .22-23 caliber semi-automatic rifles, 2 .22 caliber rifles, 2 12-gauge shotguns, and nearly 400 rounds of ammunition in an apparent attempt to retake the compound. Although Howell's group claimed that it was trying to obtain evidence on Roden's illegal activities, members did not take a camera with them. The trial ended with the jury finding Howell's followers not guilty, but the jury members were unable to agree on a verdict for Howell himself, and his followers were acquitted. Howell invited the prosecutors to Mount Carmel for ice cream. It's claimed that Howell was never authorized to name his breakaway sect the Branch Davidians, and the church which bears that name continues to represent the members of the Branch Davidian or the Branch Church who did not follow him. So here's the aftermath. We'll do a little quick on that. So in all, 4 ATF agents were killed in the aftermath. 16 were wounded, and 6 Branch Davidians died in the initial raid on February 28th, 76. Oh, sorry, in February 28th. 76 more died in the final assault on April 19th. The events at Waco spurred criminal prosecution and civil litigation. A federal grand jury indicted 12 of the surviving Branch Davidians, charging them with aiding and abetting in a murder of federal officers and unlawful possession and use of various firearms. 8 Branch Davidians were convicted of firearms charges, 5 convicted of voluntary manslaughter, and 4 were acquitted of all charges. As of July 2007, all Branch Davidians had been released from prison. Civil suits were brought against the United States government, federal officials, former government of Texas, former governor of Texas, Ann Richards, and members of the Texas Army National Guard. The bulk of these claims were dismissed because they were insufficient as a matter of law, or because the plaintiffs could not material evidence in support of them. One case, Andrade versus Chodnacki, made it to the Fifth Circuit, which upheld a previous ruling of take nothing denied. So apparently one almost got through, but didn't. So yeah, that was this just a half-ass slight story, stuff that I didn't know about regarding the Waco. So it was just a jump of the facts of stuff surrounding Waco. Pretty much everybody knows that story. It would be fun to do a deep dive because there's a lot going on there. But that was just some facts that I didn't know.
So okay, I'm just kind of keeping track here. So when did they get founded in the 70s?
So it really started because there was a couple spinoffs there that I had trouble following, but they really started back in 1929.
Oh shit!
And then they had a spinoff in 34, and then another spinoff in 42, and then another spinoff in 76, I believe, or 78, and then the final one was the one that David Koresh had control of, where Waco, happened, and that was in the 80s, like mid 80s or early 80s. That's
where they kind of became the Davidians.
Yeah, Branch Davidians. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good old David Koresh.
It's all those Davids. Yeah, because I'm noticing, like, when we talk about these cults, at least the first 3 you've mentioned, Chris, they seem to mostly be like late 70s, early 80s, which the sociologist to me is like, what's the connection there? So I'm curious as we go on, what that looks like. So
yeah, I think it's just the times. I think it was not much going on. They had these people, these very persuasive people coming through, that somebody handed them a microphone and it just took off. I think that was a large chunk of it. I'm sure there's other going on there, but
well, I mean, you're coming off the 70s too. If you look at that timeline, the 70s of the drugs, the togetherness, the everybody's one. We live as one, and what have you. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah,
that's a great point, Dave. And didn't the Vietnam War end in the 70s?
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting. Continue, please. I'm really hoping to talk about my favorite cult, so that's why I'm being a little quiet.
It may be coming up. So this is probably another one of the well-knowns besides Waco is the People's Temple with good old Jim Jones.
This is not my favorite. It's my second favorite, but I do like this one.
So they call the juice where I work Jim Jones. Just
well, this is where that came from. All right, so the People's Temple of the Disciples of Christ. And that ain't a tongue twister. I don't know what is. So originally the People's Temple Gospel Church, and commonly shortened to the People's Temple. That's what I call it, the People's Temple. So it was an American new religious organization which existed between 1954 and 1978. It was founded in Indianapolis, Indiana by Reverend Jim Jones. The People's Temple spread a message that combined elements of Christianity with communist and socialist ideology, with an emphasis on racial equality. After Jones moved the group to California in the 1960s and established several locations throughout the state, including its headquarters in San Francisco, the temple forged ties with many left-wing political figures and claimed to have 20,000 members, though 3,000, 5,000 was more likely. So they pencil whipped their numbers there a little bit, apparently. So the temple is best known for the events of November 18th, 1978 in Guyana, when 909 people died in a mass suicide / mass murder at its remote settlement named Jonestown, as well as the murders of U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan and members of his visiting delegation at nearby Port Katuma airstrip. The incident at Jonestown resulted in the greatest single loss of American civilian life in a deliberate act prior to the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. Because of the killings in Guyana, the temple is regarded by scholars and popular view as a destructive cult. Well, no shit.
Well, and I feel like, and I am so excited for us to one day do a whole episode or maybe multiple on Jim Jones, because there is so much, right? But I want to, I guess in my head, I want to be like, that escalated quickly. They went from a religion that was all about Jesus and Christianity and equality, very Unitarianism, to we live on a segregated area in Ghana or Guyana and drink Kool-Aid. Kitty.
Yeah. So he was very much, so this is just a little background on him. So Jim Jones had become enamored with communism, and he was also frustrated by the harassment which communists were being subjected to in the U.S. during the Red Scare. This, among other things, provided a clerical inspiration for Jones, as he himself described in his biographical recording. Ready for this? So this is a quote from his biographical recording. I decided, how can I demonstrate my Marxism? The thought was, infiltrate the church. So I consciously made a decision to look into that prospect. Apparently, he was hardcore into Marxism there, Amanda. That's fascinating.
I mean, I love, how do I put this out sounding like a communist? I'm going to get arrested. I appreciate the works of Karl Marx in the sense of feminism and anti-capitalism in the sense of why we work. I could have my own podcast about this. I think it's so interesting that he was like, I know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to use religion as the way to get people to pay. That's gold right there. Crazy gold, but gold.
Yeah.
Please don't come for me for my love for Marx.
He also preached to abstain from sex and to only adopt children. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah, but he was a freaking whore. And
he was
rapist.
Banging everybody.
He didn't care what hole you had. He was putting it in it.
Yeah, he was laying some pipe.
That's a direct quote, Angela.
Amanda, I feel like this is going to be a whole 5-part series on Jim Jones for you and Marxism.
I mean, I would love that. And this isn't even my favorite one. I think Chris knows my favorite cult, but this is definitely
I think I do. One. So I wish I knew more of why I don't. I wish how can I say this? I wish I knew more of why I don't like Marxism. I really did. I really do, rather. There's a reason. I haven't quite figured it out why I don't like it. I do like the ideas of everybody's equal, that the equality. things like that. I do. But the one issue I do know off the top of my head is that the problem that I'm seeing with it is that, yes, it takes the power from this sect of people, but it then directs the power to this sect of people. Yeah. So it's really not fixing the power struggle in a sense, because it's still going to have a power struggle. It's just swapping it from A to B. But, and I'm not for, I love the government. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not for, creating another evil and killing one evil at the same time. I don't know. But I don't. Go ahead.
I think Marxism is a wonderful utopian idea that's not we know is not possible because power exists.
Right.
And I only I think there is the theory in the books that sounds awesome and great, and then there's the practice that is just not plausible.
Yeah, and I've heard, we know that. And I wish I can remember, but I've heard terrible things about Karl Marx and where he his deal, he wasn't. I don't know. I wish I can remember it, and I can't. So I feel bad even bringing it up because I have nothing to defend it with. So.
Oh, good old Karl.
Yeah. All right. So next one, maybe, is the Church of the Lamb of God.
Oh, I don't know this one.
I've actually shortened it a little bit, but it's the true name is the Church of the Firstborn of the Lambs of God, also known as the Church of the Lamb of God.
Why are these names so long?
I don't know. I feel like and the shorter version really isn't that much shorter. It has two less words in it. Yeah, it's like one word change. So the Church of the Lamb of God was a violent Latter-day Saints group founded by Ervil LeBaron that is responsible for dozens of deaths over 2 decades. After his death, it was run by several of his sons. So a little background on the Church of the Lamb of God. When Joseph Smith founded the Latter-day Saints movement, Benjamin F. Johnson was one of his earliest followers. Johnson followed the church, teaching and practicing polygamy, taking multiple wives. Then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints renounced polygamy. Johnson and his family, like many Mormon fundamentalists, continued the practice. In 1924, Johnson's grandson, Almadeir LeBaron, I don't know why I keep saying LeBron, but it's LeBaron, Sr. moved his family to Mexico, where the government showed no interest in prosecuting polygamists. They went where they were wanted, I guess. They settled near Colonia Juarez, Chihuahua. Oh, I butchered that. Chihuahua. My apologies. Shut the fuck up. Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
That's where the Chihuahua comes from. You gonna edit
and
that
Chihuahua
out?
Cheese.
I do like Chihuahua Hulu. So,
my Spanish is a little rusty.
I think that's probably more Native American. So,
all right. So they settled near Colonia Juarez, Chihuahua. Almadeir really believed that Johnson.
For Juarez, I thought you got that one really well. I was really proud of that one.
Almadeir believed that Johnson was the rightful successor to Smith, and that Johnson had appointed Alma to follow him. After Alma's death, several of his sons claimed to be his true successor. In 1955, his son Joel founded the Church of the Firstborn of the Fullness of Times and named himself as the president. Well, that's nice. You just say, I'm fucking president now. His brother Ervil became second in command with authority over their new settlement, known as Colonia LeBaron. A third brother, Verlin, also held a high position of the church. Must have been the ugly duckling of the family. He doesn't have a title. He just holds a high position.
He's probably the one that was like, this is bullshit. And they're like, we'll give you a position. He's like, still bullshit, but whatever.
Yeah, I'll take it. By 1967, tensions were rising between Joel and Ervil. Ervil began advocating for the return of the former Mormon principle of blood atonement. This required that a sinner must have their blood shed in order for them to have a place in heaven. Essentially, it required the death penalty for actions deemed crimes by Ervil. Joel refused to allow the practice into his church. Brothers also argued about the fate of their second Mexican colony, a ranch known as Los Molinos in Baja California, Mexico. Joel intended the land to support future church recruits. Ervil wanted to develop the land as a resort.
A resort sounds like a better idea because you make more money.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
this is really a cult off a cult. Oh, sorry,
basically.
No, so what Chris just said about turning things into a resort. Did you guys see The Righteous Gemstones?
Yes, and I love that show.
So that whole, like, okay, there's 3 brothers, right? Even though there's 2 brothers in the show because, the father and then you got the 2 sons. But they were talking about turning something into a resort.
Yeah.
So this is very similar to that whole storyline.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy.
It is.
I wouldn't put it past, what's his name? Danny
McBride.
Danny McBride.
Yeah, McBride. Love Danny McBride.
Love that show. You need to come back.
So apparently the media dubbed this as the Mormon Manson. So the Church of Lamb of God really started to clash when the 2 brothers had it out about this thing. So LeBaron started still doing it. LeBaron convinced his followers that he received direct instructions from God, which included using an abandoned Mormon doctrine, the blood atonement. So that's what we were just talking about, that he wanted to use because he was receiving the information from God. So LeBaron had 51 children with 13 different wives, and over 2 decades amassed hundreds of followers who allegedly murdered more than 20 people on behalf of LeBron and his orders. So Mexican authorities arrested LeBaron in 1979 and handed him over to the FBI, where he was charged for the murder of another polygamous sect leader and jailed for life in Utah. Although LeBron died in prison in 1981, his reign of terror still persisted. What did I say, LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron's still alive. Still playing for the Lakers.
Fuck. LeBaron died in prison in 1981. His reign of terror still persisted for several years as he left behind a hit list of people he believed were traitors. So he was still kicking it afterwards.
That's some goals there. I'm going to leave a list behind of people who've wronged me.
Right?
Well, it's interesting because it says that while he was incarcerated, he continued to write testament for his followers. One of those is the Book of the New Covenants, which is that list where he marked for blood atonement.
Oh.
And then it also contained the list of who should succeed Ervil as the leader of the cult.
So he had it all laid out then.
Yeah, he had a whole plan. He looked in that Joseph Smith had and was like, yep, this is what I'm doing.
Man, 2 things. One, if you haven't watched Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu, highly recommend it. Super good. I read the book because my good friend Angela bought it for me 1,000 years ago. Why doesn't remember buying it for me? Angela loves to buy me things about Mormons. It's one of her many pleasures.
I bought you that book?
You did. And one time you also signed me up to get Christmas cards and Christmas videos of the birth of Jesus from them. Yep. So I get those.
That's hilarious.
How they
hold on. It wasn't you. We signed Margaret up. Remember? We signed your mother up.
Oh, maybe it was. No, I still get them. It had to have been me. I would not have signed myself up for that. Oh, I probably would have.
I think you did. I know we definitely signed your mother up as a joke.
I do remember that. The Mormons are that's such an interesting to like have a cult like come off of I would say is another cult.
Yeah.
They have several. Oh, yeah. They also have the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's another one.
FLDS. Yeah, that's a whole nother level of good crazy.
Yeah.
Stay sweet, baby. That's what they say. Stay sweet.
All right, so the next
one on my Discovery that you gave Chris on the Discovery account, I think I watched everything there was to watch about Mormonism.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so if you're like, "Why do I have this?" It's because I watched all that.
That's hilarious. All right, the next one I got is good old. It's probably the most recent of the bunch. Is good old Nexium.
Oh.
That's how you say it, right? Nexium.
Yeah.
Sure as fuck
This
not
one
spelled
is
that way, just so everybody knows.
fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know why they spell it like that. It really confuses me. There's letters in there that do not make that sound. It's NXIVM. I don't know how that spells Nexium, but I'll take it. All right, so it's the name commonly used to describe the personality cult of imprisoned racketeer and sex offender Keith Raniere. Nexium is also the trademark name of the defunct corporation of the Raniere that Raniere founded, which provided seminars and videos in the field of human potential development. This is also seemingly similar to Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
The United States seized ownership of Nexium-related entities and their intellectual property through asset forfeiture following Raniere's conviction. The Nexium Corporation was based in the New York Capital District and had centers throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The subsidiary companies in Nexium recruited based on the multi-level marketing model and used curricula based on the intellectual property of Raniere called Rational Inquiry. Courses attracted a variety of notable students, including actors as well as children of the rich and powerful. Over its existence, former members and families of Nexium's clients, alarmed by Raniere's behavior and Nexium practices, spoke to investigative journalists of multiple newspapers like Forbes, Vanity Fair, the New York Observer, and the Times Union of Albany, calling the organization a cult. The organization was criticized in similar terms by Rich Allen Ross, Cult Education Institute, and activists and academics from the from the anti-cult movement. In 2017, former members Sarah Edmondson, Bonnie Piesse, and that's French, and Mark Vincente, also, as well as Cameron, I can't fucking read today, Catherine Oxenberg, spoke to New York Times and revealed grave concerns about Keith Raniere and Nexium, including the existence of a secret society called DOS, in which women were branded, made to record false confessions, and provide nude photographs for blackmail. So that's really where it gets twisted, is the branding and the sexual abuse. So apparently, there's a decades-long pattern of grooming and sexual abuse of girls and women, physically and psychologically, punishments against dissenters, and hacking against enemies. Raniere was convicted on the top charge of racketeering and racketeering conspiracy, as well as several other charges. So apparently, he was forcing people to make these, to kind of blackmail him in a sense, make these false confessions or on tape, and then he was also branding them, with his initials above right on their hip. Just a lot of crazy shit with that.
I feel like this started as an MLS, like a multi-level thing.
Yeah.
And like got out of hand real quickly. Like, I would like you to imagine if like Scentsy did this. They were like, we're going to start off as this candle wax company. And then all of a sudden Angela has to like go to New York to like pose nude for a picture or something. Like, I feel like it just got real out of hand real quick. But also, if I was to start a cult, this might be one of the ways I would do it, because you're getting people to buy into your product. So that's how you're getting your money, right? It's a Ponzi scheme. So you're not really like, they're not getting their money back. And then once they're hooked and they're into your belief, you're like, great, now we're going to get real fucking crazy and do some branding and shit.
So most people, right, and that's the thing. I think people get a taste of this power in a sense, and they're adornment from others, and it just goes from there. So Smallville co-star Allison Mack is well known for this involvement in this cult, and she kind of didn't come in till the later time. I think between 2006 and 2015. She kind of came in, and then she left in 2013. But she ended up being really close and got into like the inner circle of Nexium, and was assisting in recruiting and things like that. So she was quickly rose to the ranks, and that's how she got wrapped into this whole sex trafficking operation that's been described as, or cult, or sex cult. So it was also described as a pyramid scheme. Apparently, they had some sort of pyramid scheme going on as well, involving, I guess, the step level system and the self help part of it. Pretty fascinating.
It does actually have a lot of connections to Scientology.
Yeah. It does. I mean, a lot of them do. I mean, a lot of them have slight bases of it, and we've all heard the stories about and we all have our opinions on Scientology, but we've all heard the stories coming about Scientology, the inner stuff that goes on with them, and the I do believe not all of them are necessarily cultish in a sense, but I do believe there's an intersect, kind of like how Nexium apparently had the DOS or DOS. I think there's an intersect that is like a true religious cult, cult thing going on there. Maybe the inner circle, for sure. All right, so I'm not sure, man. You were saying your favorite one. I'm not sure if I know what your favorite one is, and the last one I have, I don't think that's your favorite.
Oh, which one do you have? Probably not.
The good old Manson family.
Ooh, I do like the Mansons. I don't know if I would consider them a cult.
Yeah.
I would just say they're crazy. Like, I don't know. I think that like part of what I would need is like, and Dave, I think you would know a lot about this because didn't you do, well, no, you did more training on gangs than cults, but like, I feel like I would call the Mansons more of a gang than a cult because of the religious aspect. But I guess, and Chris, maybe you'll go into this, I guess they did believe that Manson was their savior, although he was just a crack pipe who wanted to be a famous beach boy. But no,
yeah,
I think you are not going to mention my favorite. I think because my favorite really does hone its own like 12 series. Like there are podcasts about my favorite. It is the one and only L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology. I am so fucking fascinated by Scientology to the point where I was like a little worried like 2 years ago that I might be joining it because I was so ingrained. I wrote my entire PhD like pre-dissertation while listening to Scientology TV shows and podcasts. I am so fascinated.
Shit.
I'm so fascinated. And it's like, it is a little bit, I don't believe anything, but it is a little bit to the point where I'm like, I might need to join this just to see what these people actually think. Like,
so
it's so
Savannah,
fascinating.
Savannah and I went to downtown Plant City the other day and walked past the Church of Scientology they have in downtown Plant City, and I almost walked in just to see what BS they were passing. Like I wanted to walk through and go, okay, what are you saying to people? Like, how are you drawing these people in? And then I looked over at Savannah. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do this because if I bring the kid into it, and then she gets hooked. Now I'm going to feel like a horrible father.
It is like multi-level crazy batshit fascinating. And so I am not surprised that it would take more than one just introduction episode because,
And no offense to any Scientologist that listens to our podcast. I mean, it is your religion, but I definitely, I would like to know what it is that draws you to your religion.
Well, they probably don't listen to this, but I think I've said really mean things about LRH in the past, so they've probably made us an undesirable. Oh yeah, and there's like different levels, and I mean, like I said, it's so fascinating. I'm very intrigued. I also really think Mormonism is a fascinating cult / religion.
Yes.
And I think that's so like those are my top 3 is Scientology, Jim Jones, because I'm just like Jim Jones, man, and Mormonism are like the top 3 that I think are interesting.
The Catholic Church is a great cult. I mean,
heck yeah!
Honestly,
oh yeah!
On it, like we could do some really religious cultish things.
Yeah. CrossFit is a really good cult also. So I actually think I have, and I don't, there's probably studies about this, and Chris, I'll let you talk about the Manson family in a minute, but I honestly think that I have whatever is in one's brain to join a cult. Because let's go through this, friends. I am a practicing member of the Catholic Church. I was in a sorority, or am in a sorority. So like there's 2 cults already down. I like drank the CrossFit juice for a very long time until my pocketbook was like, I can't afford that anymore. I'm real into Scientology and Mormonism, like super fascinated. Like I would be worried about me. If this was the 70s, I think I may have been a member of Heaven's Gate. Let's just put it out there.
Well, I'm not saying anything, but there was a trip. I think it was the second year you were down in Florida where you tried to get us into a gang.
Yes. Oh,
because you would not stop
I
asking
did.
questions. Yeah. We were almost in a gang, so that was a fun time for me in my life with her.
Never
That's
a dull moment.
hilarious.
Amanda, I don't remember when you brought Angela down to Florida and tried to join a gang. Where was I on this trip?
It was the second year you were there. So it was sophomore year of college for you.
So I definitely wasn't into my cult, which was my second marriage. But
no, you weren't even married the first marriage yet.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get married till I was a senior in college. Did you get married when you were 26, 27?
Oh God, when did Karen and I get married? I'll take your word for it.
No,
sure.
I don't think you were married yet. Only because I remember when you got married. Like I remember where I was in my life, and I remember I was still in college, but I think I was like a junior in college. But yes, Angela, I do remember that. And I was not trying to join the gang. I was trying to get Angela to join the gang because I am also really excited about other people to do things. And I asked these guys, so here's the story, friends. We went and got tattoos. And I have a tattoo on my wrist that says hope in Greek. And Angela got the number 13 on her wrist or finger.
It was on my wrist.
And because you have 5 on your finger, right?
Well, it's not that anymore, but yes.
Yeah, you used to. And I remember the guy was of Hispanic, probably, I think Mexican descent. And he was like, "Are you sure you want this on your wrist?" And Angela was like, "Yeah, of course." Yes, David.
Yeah.
David is
saying it now. I get where we're going. Yes. Oh, they tried to get you to Andrese. You were going to get a sir. You were going to be a sir.
No, Amanda did. Amanda wanted to know everything related to how a woman becomes part of this.
Oh no, you don't want to be a Sereno as a woman, no, or
no,
any
no,
as a
no,
woman.
No, we do not.
I just had lots of questions. As our listeners know, I have lots of questions about things, and so I said, Angela, look, there isn't a gang nearby called the Hope Gang. If there was, I would join. But this is an opportunity for you to network.
I am so sorry that took me so long to catch on to where that was going. I should have had it by the 13, but oh my Lord. Old boy was looking at you like, are you really sure?
He actually
is. So there was the guy tattoo.
Oh, we're going to say Angie?
Yeah, there was the guy tattooing us. And then there was his friend there at the shop. And his friend was like, are you sure you want to know?
And I did.
Like, I don't.
And they were so polite. They were like trying to tell us about how like you have to have a train ran on you. I'm so sorry for anyone listening.
Oh yeah.
And they were trying to do it in such a polite way because they didn't want to insult these 2 women.
Share her off?
I don't know.
I mean, what were they?
And I was like, so if they were on a train, I was like, how many people are in this train? And they.
In case anyone's wondering, it's 13.
Yes.
Wow.
And there was something else that I mean, they were so amused by my question.
Well, it's
most are with Amanda.
Usually they don't get like innocent questions.
Right.
So what ended up happening?
Well, so Andrew
got the tattoo.
We did not join.
We did not join, but he did tell her not to take it off while she was here. He was like, keep it wrapped. And
Yep.
usually they want you to take it off because they want you to get air and stuff to it if you don't have tattoos. And
he said,
he
keep
was
it covered.
very specific to her of like, keep it covered. And even like was very apprehensive of doing it to her because of like, he's like, where do you live? And she's like, oh, I live in Maryland. And he was like, okay, you're probably okay, but like keep it covered while you're here. Because we were also, side note for our Florida listeners, we were in Pasco County, Pasco Hernandez, Dave. So it's a very like predominantly Hispanic area of where we were. Yeah. We were not in like Wesley Chapel area, like we were like in Dade City further in kind of. So yeah, it was, I forgot.
Holy smokes. I'm surprised he actually did it, Angela.
Now looking back, God, that was what, 15 years
PG County has a huge number of, well, they used to at least, of MS-13 there in PG County.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a Roman numeral 13. So it could be taken both ways in a sense. It wasn't like the letters and then 13. So,
well, yeah, I mean,
still,
but even like 13 down here, like you'll get somebody on, if it's in the right spot on the right side or what have you, you'll get somebody looking twice and going, hang on a minute, what are you practicing? Like, I
think that was the other thing, is he made you change which location you were going to put. He made you change which arm, I feel like. Like, I feel like there was a conversation about the location, and he was like, wait, where do you want it? Like, it was the most in-depth conversation about this tattoo, because he was seriously like, does this gringa know what she's doing?
Well, yeah, I don't want her walking out of my tattoo shop and getting an innocent tattoo and getting killed because she's representing something that she's really not.
So I tried to solve that by getting her to join. I'm a problem solver.
Okay, getting her killed for representing something that she's in. I mean, what a problem solver.
Yes.
That's the friend you have around you, Ange.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm very
well aware.
That's
traditional tattoo artist around me.
I'm trying to get Angela to do something that is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, so that was the first time that was something like that. And then one of my other tattoos I have on my shoulder, I brought it to my artist and he was like, I'll do it. But this is very, very similar to the Hells Angels. And I don't want you getting mistaken. Like it's different enough that no one can associate it with Hells Angels.
But if it's a quick look.
Yeah, it might be questionable.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I just remember the whole time being like, Angela, if they had a gang for hope, I would join, but they don't. I don't know why.
But come on, jump on the MS-13 train. Quite literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about
13,
that.
huh?
Well, because it's like her birthday and like.
Well, no. I'm talking about the train thing. Like 13.
Oh, yeah, 13.
Oh,
yeah.
How do you figure out where you're at in that train? That would probably have been my question. Like,
or you're surely not the caboose.
Well, no. I mean, I know where she fits in the train. I'm talking like how the guys are. Like, where do you fit in with the guys? Like, is it like the leader?
Straws?
Yeah, well, yeah. Is it like the leader, and then it goes on back to the rookie, like the new kid gets.
We didn't get into those specifics, nor did I want to continue having this conversation.
I think I asked that, but I was very abruptly told, I'm here, Michelle!
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, she definitely posed the question. I'm like, shut this down right now.
That's funny.
You're welcome. So to all of our listeners, if we're wondering, I would probably join a gang or get you to join one. Look, I'm all about the story and the experience. To join it. Okay.
There are several
college, I went to a Scientology. What?
There are several stories written that you can read. You don't have to like force your friends into MS-13. That's horrible.
She needs friends.
But it's an insider's view. It's an insider's view. She wants the inside. Like if she's not going to join it herself, she wants to have the insider
Ooh,
knowledge.
you would have had something to tell, I guess.
Something would have been inside you for sure. 13
Hey-o,
something.
Lots of
let's
things.
do it.
Lots of things.
At least 13 off the start. I mean, who knows?
Oh, they were so amused by us. I think we hung out there for like an extra like hour and a half with them.
Yeah, because
They were
someone
really
wouldn't stop
amused.
asking questions. Shocker.
Shocker. Where was this tattoo shop?
Well, that's
I mean, and you want to take a trip back down to Florida?
No.
No. Oh, that's good.
honestly, I don't even know if I could find it anymore. There's a nice
It
one
was
that
like,
Courtney and I go to in Lakeland.
yeah,
I
it
want to
was
find
a
a traditional tattoo
random
artist
one.
around me.
What's that mean? Like an old guy with like a mustache and a
No,
like
it's a
No,
way.
he wants like sailor tattoos.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm just doing the next tattoo I'm doing is just black ink, so it won't be. But
Topher,
we're
you
like
should
traditional.
go to the one that Courtney and I went to in Lakeland. He's Courtney's friend. He does all Randall's stuff. Courtney's our cousin for our listeners. But
That
he
that
he
go ahead.
specializes in Viking.
Chris, next time you're down here, just go to where I go.
Yeah, Angela's
Where
place
you
is
go?
pretty good too.
Electric in Pasadena.
Oh, okay.
And the one guy, it's only, well, there's 3 artists, but the one guy, like, he's done all my friends. Oh, Amanda, you've seen Elena's. It's all
Yeah, I
like
have 2 of
sailor
his.
tattoos. Like, they're all really, really good, but there's one specifically, like, he just stands out at like the old school, and that's like his favorite thing to do. So he's really, really passionate about it.
Oh, cool. Because I mean, what I want done is pretty simple. It's just a black band around my forearm. Well, 2 black bands, really, one thicker than the other one, and then some Viking ruins in between the 2 bands. But just like traditional black ink, so no color. But it's something. It's something. Whatever ink they use, or it might be the way they do it. Somebody was telling me that it pops better. And the black lasts longer because I have a couple black tattoos and I treated them like you're supposed to, and the color didn't hold for shit, you know.
Check.
So, and like
I
Randall's
sent it to our
tattoos,
Insta post or Insta podcast. So look on there. I sent you the dude's Insta
oh, okay,
profile.
cool.
Randall's are kick-ass. Have you seen
I
his
know
new
they
one?
pop. I think I've seen a picture of, it, but all his like pop, like even the black, like, and they're not. I asked him the last time I talked to him, they're not like fresh tattoos. The ones that I was talking about, like they were older, and that the ink was still like in your face. You know what I mean? And he says that he gets it done, like I think he said like traditionally, or I don't know, something like that. I don't know enough about it.
That's
Yeah.
nice from the guy that did
Yeah.
Randall's. Although did I tell you that like we tried to match up, and then I forgot that Courtney's like 4 inches taller than me.
She's got to stand on stilts to match up.
Yeah, I gotta stand on. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Amanda's on her tiptoes.
Oh well.
That's funny.
Anyways, guys, let's finish this off because I feel like I just totally derailed us with my
We
thoughts
did.
about that.
Oh, good though. We got one last one to bust through here. So it's the Manson cult. As Amanda said, it's not really a cult per se. I think what defines a cult, and this is my personal definition. This is not something that I got anywhere. It's a group of people that centralize around a specific belief. A single belief. So I kind of do consider them a cult, and I'm sure other people do. Other people don't, whatever. But I do, because they had a central belief and a central, desire that they were all aiming towards. So in the late 1960s, Charles Manson brought together a group of displaced young people and called them his family. They settled in Spahn Ranch, a sprawling former movie studio near Los Angeles, where drugs were free-flowing, mandatory orgies were enforced, and Manson pushed his ideas about imminent race war. So they had me on the first 2. Second 2, they lost me.
Yeah, right. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I'm in. Oh, I'm out. I'm out.
And then
Anyway,
they don't tell you about that till the last couple days out, and you're like, ooh, I really enjoyed the other stuff, but I think I gotta go.
You do the old Homer Simpson fall back into the bushes thing.
Yeah.
Not even that I would do the drugs. I just, it's cool. Everybody's partying. That's what I'm looking at it as. It's not that I'm doing the drugs, but shit, everybody's partying. Let's do it, So the cult leader told his followers he wanted them to go on a killing spree, and he didn't spring this on him. This is something that he kind of decided, in a sense. This deserves an episode on its own. The topic's been beat to hell by many other podcasters, documentaries, et cetera, movies, whatever. But it's fascinating. There's a lot going on there, as many as the others that we've talked about. But he didn't spring this on, and this is something that it was coming along. He came up, as a petty criminal. He got wrapped up trying to become the next Beach Boy, as Amanda said, with his music. And his music's not half bad. I mean, it's not terrible. I have to say, it's doable. So after he was pretty much denied and told that he wasn't going to get anywhere, I think that's when his ideas kind of took a downturn, and he decided to, that the reason he wasn't getting anywhere is because of the other, the other races or whatever. So he decided he was going to go on this killing spree, and it was as a result of what's called Helter Skelter, and that's this idea derived from a Beatles song that was totally, looked into the wrong way, basically. So on August 8th, 1969, a few of the members of the cult headed to Beverly Hills' home and murdered 5 people, including actress Sharon Tate. They wrote the word pig in Tate's blood on the door. The violence continued the next night when Rosemary and Lino LaBianca were murdered in their Los Feliz home by Manson's followers on his orders, which is still debated to this day, even though he's long dead, if he actually gave the orders to kill them or if they just decided to kill them on their own. The one that he did, I believe he did, was the one, and I can't remember the guy's name right now. Our lovely fact checker can probably help us out on this. He was the music producer, I believe. I think that one he may have, and then so Manson wasn't. Oh, sorry, I skipped the part here. So they were murdered. Rosemary and Lino LaBianca were murdered in their Los Feliz home by Manson's followers on his orders, and Rosemary was stabbed 14 times. I mean, the murders were just absolutely horrific. I mean, all the murders that were involved in this were just disgusting, unbelievable acts of violence that I've ever heard of. I mean, it just Sharon Tate was pregnant, and regardless how far along, when she was pregnant, it was just brutally stabbed in the stomach repeatedly. Just brutal. So Manson was convicted on first-degree murder in 1971. He served out his prison sentence until he died on November 19th, 2017 at age 83. So he hang on. And he was an artist in jail too. There's multiple pieces of his art floating around. Actually, Zach Bagans from the Ghost Adventures show has multiple pieces of his, and he actually has Charles Manson's entire jail cell pretty much set up in his haunted museum out in Las Vegas. It's pretty interesting to see. It's not something that I would celebrate, but definitely an interesting thing to see, his cell and the things he kept in his cell, his TV set that he had. He has that. He also has some pieces of his art. Like I said, it's very fascinating, interesting.
Wait. So, yeah, Charles Manson had a TV in prison?
Yeah. And then some people say it's cursed. There's a whole story, like a recall story on Travel Channel that Zach Bagans helped with creating. And there's a big movie director that did it as well. I can't remember his name right now, but it's called The Haunted Set or Haunted TV or something like that.
Does it only
it's on the show.
The Home Shopping Network? What does TV do?
I don't think I saw the episode. I'm just piecemealing it here, but it's something like it was causing this person to go crazy and wanting to hurt people and stuff, if I remember the story correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What would your haunted TV channel or TV show? What would make it haunted for you?
Well, alien documentaries. If it haunts me, that's what's going to haunt me with, because that's pretty much all that plays on it is alien documentaries.
So, Chris, were you referring to Roman Polanski? Because
That's Sharon's husband.
Well, baby,
It was.
daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were married, weren't they?
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't. Yes, and it is. Yes, it's Roman Polanski. It's yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I got confused there for a second. Yeah, and for some reason, that article when I was reading, I was like, man, they didn't even name him. They said he killed 5 other people, but they only mentioned Sharon Tate, and then they jumped to Rosemary and LaBianca or LaBianca's name. But yeah, there was multiple people killed in that one, including the heiress to the
Folgers, Abigail Folger.
Yeah, the Folgers family member. So we almost lost coffee there. Yep. Heiress, I'm sorry. Yeah, so just a fascinating story, and it deserves a deep dive, and I'm barely even doing it any kind of justice by touching on it as lightly as we are. But there's a lot going on there and deserves for a whole episode in itself. So, but that's it, guys. David, and there's a go ahead.
What would your TV haunt you with?
Oh my god!
Oh, we skipped over that, didn't we?
What'd you say?
Cooking channels.
Oh, you only have cooking channels?
Cooking channels would kill me.
Much more honest than my alien documentaries. That's
I
fair.
like that.
I mean, there's further stories into that, but yeah, if my TV was on cooking channels 24/7, I would destroy just everything. It would be a destructive rage.
You don't like cooking channels?
Wait. So that will push you off the edge?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that was going there. All right. Well, I want to change my answer then.
Okay.
Because I like the alien documentaries.
Homicidal.
Any kind of reality TV.
Yeah, I interpreted it the same way that you did, Chris, where Amanda was asking, if you were dead, what would you haunt the TV with?
No. Like, no. I was in the way David was. Like, what would play that would be like a haunted TV? Like, you would literally be like, what the fuck is wrong with this TV?
Any kind of reality TV then, for me.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind.
That's a tough
So go ahead.
one. I don't even know.
Oh, what TV show just drives you crazy?
I don't really watch TV. Like, I only watch the shows I like.
What shows don't you like?
Chris on this. I'm probably with you on this, Chris, with reality shows. Like, that, I can't stand it. Like,
it's garbage.
Kardashians.
Well, I mean, you see some of these reality TV shows that are like, you can tell they're so fake, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you like give me a TV program where it's just people driving like idiots, then that would definitely put me on a murder spree.
Yes.
Road Justice. That's a TV show I'm going to invent.
Oh
yes.
Yeah. It's where there's a judge that
copyrighted
drives around and pulls people over, and it's called Road Justice.
No, I just want like guns on my car. Like, okay, so I think I posed this question to somebody at work. I don't know if it was here. Have you ever been driving down the road and you find like a spot on your windshield and you make believe it's a gun and you're like shooting the other cars around you? Me either. Yep. Nope.
No, I have not gotten there yet. No, but I bet you my husband has.
No.
Me either. I mean, I heard of somebody that thought that. Wasn't me.
I've pictured having an actual battering ram on mine so I could push people out of the way or get them off the road.
Yes, gone there.
But the gun, that's taking it too far.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of somebody. It wasn't me. So, yeah. No, I love people.
Listeners, we'll post this question on our Instagram. You let us know. Would you prefer battering ram or guns on the side that can shoot people? I preferably
or lasers. Lasers.
Cars with freaking lasers. Yes.
Yeah.
But they have to be like strong lasers, like lasers that actually like burn people.
Like the sharks from Austin Powers.
Yeah. I would think the people with the guns would want the lasers that burn people, not me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but those people.
Yeah.
Those people.
Those other people that like pick
those folks.
They pick a dot on their windshield and they like.
So my TV show or my TV would probably play like nonstop ESPN Sports Center.
I mean, turn around. Your show's on right now. Turn around.
It is on right now. It's an elf. I love sports. Don't get me wrong, but ESPN repeats itself literally for hours if there's not a game on, and that's what it would just be Sports Center.
Yeah,
or reality TV. I hate reality TV, and those shows like The Masked Singer, all of that. I'm like, no, thank you, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's probably my number 2 is sports because I'm not really a sports fan. I don't have any like too much against it. It's not like I hate sports. I mean, if somebody's watching it, I'll watch it with them, but I will never turn it on. I used to love hockey. They went on strike the first time and then the second time, and I kind of, fell off, but I will never turn on sports myself. I don't have any teams per se. But yeah, it's probably my second one for sure.
I love sports. I'll watch any game you want to put on, but don't make me listen to this person say the same gosh damn thing the other person said an hour ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My other one would be any kind of cable news network. That would be my secondary. Like, please do not make me watch Fox News, MSNBC, CNN on repeat. I will watch it for what I need. If it's a very important thing happening, sure.
Well, there's definitely nothing I need on cable news, but I can at least follow, I can at least find the comedy in it,
Yeah.
That's about it. But
I really want your cat to lick your head, David.
I've been watching him, waiting for him to get up
like
on
she
it.
Is right now. Oh, she stopped.
Man, I gotta teach that cat how to claw your ears.
No, you don't. Because last night I was sitting here, and then all of a sudden, he stretches, and I get a freaking claw right to the freaking ear. Jeez! I was like, "Oh, son of a!" Savannah jumped. She goes, "What?" I said, "The freaking claw." The cat just punched me in the ear.
Look at those little toe beans.
Yeah, he likes sleeping on his belly. He does the whole drunk sleep. Looks like he fell off the freaking wagon and he's just passed out drunk.
All right, friends. What if Angela has to go spend some money at some small stores? So shop small this holiday season. All our listeners, no need to give corporate organizations your money.
Yeah.
Give it to mom and pops. Send it to us if you'd like. We have merch.
Yeah.
We have donations we'll take.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Didn't you talk about doing a Patreon before?
Yeah, we need to do that. I don't know how to do it though, so.
What?
Oh my god, that's where I could go and tell my stories about trying to get Angela to join cults and the one time I tried to sell her in Dubai.
Angela, what are you shopping for? What are we going shopping for today?
Christmas?
Okay.
Just in general.
That's it.
Yeah, just Christmas.
That's cool. Christmas.
Okay.
All right, friends. Well, it's been fun. We'll catch you on the next one, and thank everyone for listening. And please rate and review us on your platform of choice. It really helps us out. Give us a like, give us a share on Instagram, and if you have any questions, you can write us, review us. I screwed that up. My wife's yelling at the dog. You can rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice. Please leave us a like and share. And you can also follow us on Instagram at TWRD_podcast. And until next time, thank you.
Hey y'all, Angela here for the fact-checking and recapping of some of the items from episode 17 of the Waters Run Deep podcast of cults. So during the first group that was discussed, Heaven's Gate, the shoes that the followers were the Nike Decades. during the discussion of the Shinariko, which was the group that was similar to Scientology and Doomsday Following. The subway attack in 1995 in Tokyo with the sarin gas, that was a diversion of the police by that group for them not to raid, but it kind of backfired on them, where the police actually did raid them. For the Branch Davidians, or the General Association of Branch Davidians, those were the offshoots of the Seventh-day Adventists. That group was formed back in 1957. Well, actually, before then, where Victor Hotef formed the group as an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventists, and moved the group to the outskirts of Waco, where they built a community center called Mount Carmel Center. And then after his death in 1955, his wife took over the control of the Davidian organization. And from there, that she sold the original Mount Carmel Center and bought a new plot near Elk, Texas, which was 13 miles northeast of Waco, naming it the new Mount Carmel Center. They kind of dissolved in 1962 and sold all but 77.86 acres of the new property. Roden took possession of this property in 1962 and began his efforts to purchase the remaining 77.86 acres. In February of 1973, new Mount Carmel was sold to Benjamin Roden, Lois Roden, and their son George Roden, the trustees of the General Association of the Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists. From there, it was known as Mount Carmel, and until Roden's death in 1978, his wife became the next Davidian prophet at the compound. After this time, there was a young man named Vernon Howell, who was later known as David Koresh, who became to New Mount Carmel to study the biblical prophecy under Lois. And by 1983, he had gained a group of his own followers as an offshoot of Lois's organizations, the Davidian Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventist Association. And as everyone is familiar with, that was the group during the 1993 Waco siege. That is very well known for the ATF raiding the Mount Carmel residence compound. For the People's Temple, beliefs were based on a lot of communism and Marxist backgrounds. For the Church of the Lamb of God Latter-day Saint group, they were very big on polygamy, and he was also known as the Mormon Manson. For the Nexium group, was very similar to Scientology, and with the discussion of Charles Manson himself and the Manson family. He killed the wife of Roman Polanski, who was a director, and his wife was Abigail Folger, who was the Folgers Coffee heiress. And at the time, she was pregnant with their child. And one last thing that I wanted to bring up was the definition of a cult. So it's a system of religious veneration or devotion directed toward a particular figure or object, or a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs and practices regarded by others as strange or sinister, or having a misplaced and excessive admiration of a particular person or thing. So as you can see, the few groups that were discussed in this overview, they were very heavy with the admiration of one particular person that they followed on their belief system. And that is all for this episode. Catch you guys on the next one.